King Gray had everything, a kingdom full of people who adored him, wealth beyond belief, power unrivaled. But one evening, he found himself falling asleep, never to wake up again. And as he is laying there, he realized through all the success and power, he had made many enemies but very few friends. He thinks and hopes that if given a second chance, he'll do better, be a better man, and cherish his friends and family. But slowly, the darkness ends up taking a hold. Then all of a sudden, the darkness starts to turn lighter. It becomes gray. He sees a bright light and hears people talking. A room comes into focus, and there are people staring down at him. At this point, he realized he's been reincarnated. Now what though? Is he just gonna sit there, cry about it? Or is he going to take control of the situation and make something good out of it? The beginning after the end takes this concept and runs with it. The main character, Gray, or in this world, Arthur, was a king, but is reincarnated and born to an adventuring couple. But after the initial shock of being reincarnated, he realizes that maybe the reason he was reincarnated was to give him a second chance at family and friends. Now at this point, the story decides to do the toddler to infant training thing where they use the old knowledge to get super OP. Think of Mushoku Tensei, where Rudius used his prior knowledge to get a bonus in life. Arthur's basically doing the same thing with the magic system. But eventually, his parents realize that he's special and decide to send him off to a tutor. You know the usual Isekai trope where the village is boring and they need a progressive story, so they send him off to a far distant city. And at this point, I was thinking to myself, okay, overpowered character, check. Memories from a past life, check. Magic system, check. It felt like this was just another generic isekai that I've seen 1,000 times. But as soon as Arthur and his family leave for the city to go find him a tutor, the story goes insane. Because as Arthur and his family are journeying, they end up getting attacked by bandits, and he ends up having to sacrifice himself in order to save his mother's life. He dives off a cliff into a chasm. But Arthur's a certified thug. He falls off the cliff hundreds of feet into the woods, somehow surviving the fall, and he hears a voice, the voice of whatever saved him, telling him to come find her in her cave. Now, I don't want to go further with the details of the encounter and where the story goes from here, because there's some major twists and turns that you will not expect. But I will say that the story does something that many stories fail to do, and that is to set up their why early on. Because oftentimes, stories within fiction have no clear goal of where they're trying to go and what they're trying to achieve. But within the first 15 chapters, the beginning after the end sets up the main villain for the rest of the story and who the protagonist has to shoot for. This is really compelling because in most isekais there's this big demon king, but the demon king never seems to appear or actually exist in the story. It's just this made up boogeyman, kind of like Voldemort or something. Does he really exist? You just shouldn't say his name. And like this trope of introducing the villain at the very beginning and the hero sees what he has to achieve, it's not new. And this story does it so well, they don't even know it's following the same usual tropes. Because it doesn't try to be groundbreaking, it doesn't try to change the mold, but it does everything really good so it feels different and new. Because the main character Arthur feels like a breath of fresh air from all of those beta main characters who are afraid to hurt anyone. If you piss him off, he will react, and some of the scenes can be pretty graphic. He feels like an actual person though, not some self-insert protagonist made for wish fulfillment and that has zero personality. Now instead of being your usual pervy anime character, I'm looking at you Rudius, he actually has respect for women, and the main love interest is genuinely interesting and has her own personality that doesn't revolve around Arthur, and the dynamic between the two is refreshing and actually seems like a genuine relationship. But because it's an isekai, we can't have anything nice. Of course there's problems with the gender roles, because the main love interest never seems to be competent, and is constantly needing to be half-saved by Arthur, which is fine every once in a while, but the story introduces her as this super competent mage who's one of the best at her age, yet she's always needed to be saving, so it kind of contradicts that idea. Which this problem alone isn't just with beginning after the end. I feel like a lot of isekai have a problem where the protagonist is the strongest and most competent person around. But the beginning after the end actually diversifies this by making a detailed power structure where Arthur is not insanely strong as soon as he is born. Yes, he is hell overpowered. Yes, he solves pretty much every problem that there is. There is at least an attempt to not make him overpowered and have a power scale for him to reach to and get to throughout the story. And one thing that keeps the story grounded and from seeming like he's just the best thing there is his family and friends, because there's a heavy emphasis on family and how important it is to keep the ones you care about close to you. But throughout the story, he gains more friends and eventually learns how to be a good person and a friend. He grows as a character through many trials, which, not gonna lie, some of the trials and tribulations are kind of generic, but there's some insane choreographed fights with awesome line coloring and drawings, and the backgrounds are often very detailed, and these drawings bring the story to life, because I try to read the light novel version of it, and it's just not nearly as good without the detail of the action scenes, because whoever is doing the line work and colors for it, it pops, and it makes it actually feel like you're in the fight. But I will say, the first season of the manhwa is rough in the drawing department because it was clearly a trial run, because it's inconsistent at times and some of the line work is really choppy. The story, for all of its faults, has an intriguing premise with a detailed magic system and a fun cast of characters. It won't change your view on anything, but has some genuinely heart-pounding action scenes tagged together with some quirky humor and some scenes that are super sweet. It is honestly just a really strong story and a sea full of mediocrity. So I know this video took a really long time to make. It took me 3 weeks, and so if you guys enjoyed it, make sure to drop a like, comment, subscribe. I'm gonna work on being better about posting every 2 weeks. I've just moved into college, moved into a new room, doing school again, so bear with me, but my next video will be pretty good. It'll be on Call of the Night, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.